कैंडी हाउस के अंदर हमारी क्रिसमस पार्टी। आज की पार्टी की सारी डेकोरेशंस हो गई हैं।
वाह, ये तो कैंडी हाउस है ना?
मुझे भी बिल्कुल इसी तरह का घर चाहिए। हाउस ऑफ कैंडी कंस्ट्रक्शन मशीन। पहले हमें अलग अलग चीजें डालनी होंगी
और बटर
और शक्कर, और फिर डालेंगे वनीला एसेंस। और अब स्विच ऑन हो गया। टेस्टी लग रहा है। चॉकलेट।
ये तो सच में चॉकलेट है।
ठीक है, चलो अभी बनाना शुरू करते हैं।
सबसे पहले स्पॉन्ज केक,
कुकीज,
वेफर्स, छत पे। ठीक है, चलो अंदर और भी कमरे बनाते हैं।
वो असली चूहा नहीं था, बल्कि बस चिरी चिरी का एक फेवरेट खिलौना था।
ये खुल नहीं रहा है।
हाँ?
नोबिता, वो शायद चाबी है।
अरे नहीं, दरवाजा ऐसे नहीं खुल रहा है।
मुझे माफ करना, मैं तो बस कैंडी टेस्ट कर रहा था।
फिक्र मत करो, मेरे पास गैजेट्स है। अरे नहीं, क्यों ना हम फिर से इसकी मदद से एक और चाबी बना लें।
अरे हाँ।
शायद इसकी फिलिंग खत्म हो गई है।
अरे नहीं।
चलो हम चिरी चिरी से स्मॉल लाइट का बटन दबाने के लिए कहते हैं।
मैं बिल्ली पर भरोसा नहीं कर सकता। मैं खुद यहाँ एक छेद करता हूँ।
मैं मदद करता हूँ।
मैं भी।
अरे नहीं, मेरा पेट भर गया।
मेरा भी भर गया है।
तुम में से किसी को गर्मी नहीं हो रही क्या?
मुसीबत हो गई।
हमें जल्दी बाहर जाना होगा।
इस तरह तो ये पूरा घर धीरे धीरे टूट जाएगा।
ये काम तुम मुझ पर छोड़ दो। मैं बाहर आ गई।
मैं इसे फ्रिज के अंदर रख देती हूँ।
फ्रिज के अंदर? ये कैंडी हाउस कहाँ चला गया? ये लो। क्रिसमस वाले दिन पर ज्यादा बर्फ।
आते
ठीक है, अब हो गया।
ये तो सच में बहुत अच्छा लग रहा है।
तुम्हें नहीं लगता अगर कल सब कुछ बर्फ से ढका हुआ हो तो कितना अच्छा लगेगा?
अगर बर्फ पड़ी तो चमत्कार होगा।
सही कहा तुमने।
ठीक है, कल मिलते हैं।
ठीक है।
मुझे कोई ऐसा गैजेट दो जिससे मैं व्हाइट क्रिसमस के चमत्कार का एहसास कर सकूं।
अगर इतना कह ही रहे हो तो वेदर बॉक्स। अरे नहीं, ये तो खराब हो गया। पर मैं कुछ नहीं कर सकता नोबिता।
ठीक है, अब मुझे ही कुछ करना होगा। ठीक हो जा, ठीक हो जा, ठीक हो जा। कितनी सारी बर्फ जमा हुई है। अरे वाह। हेलो, मेरी दी गई बर्फ से तुम लोग बहुत खुश नजर आ रहे हो।
तो चलो हम सब नोबिता की बर्फ उसे वापस करते हैं। ये लो, ये लो, ये लो, ये लो। अब तुम अपनी बर्फ वापस घर ले जाओ।
नोबिता, मैं आ गई। क्रिसमस के दिन में सच में असली चमत्कार हो गया।
बाजू हो जाओ।
ये तो बिल्कुल अच्छा नहीं हुआ डोरेमोन।
पर चलो बर्फ में खेलते हैं। ये
भी ये गलत है। बर्फ रुक जाओ। रुको रुको रुको। रुक जाओ, रुक जाओ। ये तो बढ़ती जा रही है। डोरेमोन, लगता है ज्यादा बर्फ गिरने की वजह से सब घर चले गए।
बर्फ की वजह से बाइक स्टार्ट नहीं हो रही थी।
माफ कीजिएगा, ये सारी मेरी गलती है।
बर्फ की वजह से ट्रेन्स बंद हो गई हैं, तो शायद आज तुम्हारे डैड घर नहीं आएंगे।
हे नोबिता, अच्छा काम कर रहे हो। इसे क्या हुआ है?
पता नहीं, आज की पार्टी में देर मत करना। हाँ,
आखिर मुझे तुम्हारी विश जो पूरी करनी थी।
मैंने तुमसे बर्फ मांगी थी, तो इसकी जिम्मेदारी मेरी भी हुई ना। हम अपनी पूरी कोशिश करेंगे। नोबिता, तुम दोनों यहाँ क्या कर रहे हो? मैं मीचान को उसका क्रिसमस गिफ्ट देने गया था। तुम हमेशा मेरी बात नहीं मानते हो और फिर कोई गलती कर देते हो। ये मशीन तो शुरुआत से ही पूरी खराब थी। मतलब बाहर जो बर्फ पड़ रही है वो तुम्हारी वजह से नहीं पड़ रही थी नोबिता। इसका मतलब ये बर्फ तो वाकई चमत्कारी बर्फ निकली।
Ladies and gentlemen, imagine unrolling a centuries-old map, its edges frayed and its parchment yellowed with time. You lean closer, expecting to see crude outlines of continents familiar to 16th century sailors, rough sketches of Europe, Africa, and perhaps the tip of South America. But instead, your eyes widen in disbelief. There, etched in delicate ink strokes, lies the unmistakable outline of Antarctica. And not the icy wasteland we know today. This map shows it without ice, revealing what seems to be mountains, rivers, and coastlines that have been hidden under frozen layers for thousands of years. How could this be possible? After all, Antarctica wasn't officially discovered until 1820, more than 300 years after this map was drawn. This is the enigma of the Piri Reis map, a centuries-old artifact that challenges our understanding of history, geography, and the limits of ancient knowledge. Was it the work of a brilliant cartographer with access to forgotten sources, or does it hint at something far stranger, an advanced civilization lost to time, ancient sea voyages we've never heard of, or perhaps even extraterrestrial contact? Our story begins in the year 1929, in the quiet halls of Istanbul's Topkapi Palace. A group of scholars was cataloguing the palace's vast collection of ancient manuscripts when they stumbled upon something unexpected. A large, roughly half-intact world map drawn on gazelle skin. It was signed by Piri ibn Haji Mehmed, better known as Piri Reis, an admiral in the Ottoman Navy and a respected cartographer of his time. The map was dated to 1513, placing it squarely in the age of exploration. At first glance, the map seemed like a fascinating historical curiosity, with its detailed rendering of the western coast of Africa, the eastern coast of South America, and various Atlantic islands. But then came the part that puzzled and disturbed experts. The southernmost portion of the map depicted a large landmass that resembled the northern coastline of Antarctica. More bizarre still, it was shown without its ice cap, revealing a terrain that, according to modern surveys, matches the subglacial topography of the continent almost perfectly. How could a 16th century sailor have known this? Piri Reis himself left us clues. In inscriptions written on the map, he stated that he had compiled it using about 20 source maps, some from the time of Alexander the Great and others from Arab, Portuguese, and even ancient maps he referred to as being from the days of the ancients. This claim alone raises eyebrows. If he truly had access to maps thousands of years old, who made them? And how could they have charted Antarctica without modern surveying equipment, or even the ability to navigate through the treacherous southern seas? The mystery deepens when you consider that during Piri Reis's lifetime, the southern polar regions were thought to be mere speculation terra incognita, unknown land. The age's great explorers like Magellan and Drake would only circle the tip of South America decades later. Yet here it was, in 1513, in astonishing detail. Even more baffling was the fact that the coastline matched modern scientific surveys of Antarctica's subglacial land, which we only obtained in the 20th century through seismic data. Some scholars have proposed that the map may have been drawn during a warmer geological period when Antarctica was ice-free, suggesting that the original source maps could date back tens of thousands of years, far earlier than our accepted timeline for human civilization's ability to navigate the globe. Could it be possible that an advanced prehistoric civilization mapped the world long before the Egyptians built their pyramids? If that theory sounds far-fetched, consider another possibility, that ancient sailors from lost cultures traveled to the farthest reaches of the globe and passed down their cartographic knowledge through generations, until it reached Piri Reis via various intermediaries. But here's the problem: even the most accomplished ancient mariners, like the Phoenicians or Polynesians, left no record of reaching Antarctica. And then there's the fringe theory that inevitably creeps into discussions of the Piri Reis map, the idea that it might be evidence of alien contact. Advocates of this notion argue that extraterrestrial visitors could have mapped Earth in deep antiquity, leaving behind data that somehow ended up in the possession of ancient humans. It's a sensational claim, and while mainstream historians dismiss it, it speaks to the sense of awe and impossibility the map inspires. As we examine Piri Reis's own life, more context emerges. Born around 1470 in Gallipoli, Turkey, he was a skilled navigator and cartographer who spent years gathering geographical data from captured charts and the accounts of sailors. His 1513 map was just one part of a larger world map, most of which has been lost. What remains is a fragment, but it's enough to ignite endless speculation. The true firestorm of debate over the Piri Reis map erupted in the mid-20th century when U.S. Navy cartographers examined it and noted its surprising accuracy. In 1953, a professor named Charles Hapgood, along with his students, analyzed the map and came to a radical conclusion. It appeared to depict Antarctica's coast as it would look without ice, implying that it had been mapped before it became frozen, perhaps over 6,000 years ago. Hapgood suggested this could be evidence for his controversial theory of crustal displacement, in which Earth's outer crust shifts, moving entire continents into different climates almost overnight. If Antarctica had once been located farther north, in a temperate climate, ancient civilizations could have explored and mapped it before it slid into its present icy position. Albert Einstein himself corresponded with Hapgood about this idea, admitting that while the theory was unconventional, it deserved consideration. Imagine that Einstein entertaining the possibility that an ancient map might rewrite our understanding of Earth's history. Of course, skeptics have countered these claims. They argue that the so-called Antarctic coastline on the Piri Reis map could simply be a distorted representation of South America, extended to fit the geographic assumptions of the time. Medieval and Renaissance cartographers often stretched or compressed coastlines to fill in unknown areas, sometimes adding speculative landmasses. Furthermore, some historians point out that matching the map to modern Antarctic topography requires selective interpretation. It's not a perfect fit. Yet the doubts don't fully erase the map's peculiarities. For example, the accuracy with which it depicts the western coast of Africa and the eastern coast of South America is remarkable for its time, aligning closely with modern maps. This suggests Piri Reis did indeed have access to highly precise source material. If those sources were ancient, we're left with a thorny question: who created them? Adding to the intrigue are other historical maps that seem to suggest advanced geographical knowledge long before their time. The Orion's Fine map of 1531, for instance, also depicts a southern continent resembling an ice-free Antarctica. Then there's the Buech map of 1737, which shows subglacial topography similar to what we know today. Are these coincidences or traces of an older, hidden tradition of global mapping? In the decades since its rediscovery, The Piri Rise map has inspired countless books, documentaries, and conspiracy theories. For some, it's tantalizing evidence that we've underestimated the capabilities of ancient civilizations. For others, it's simply a misunderstood artifact, its mysteries inflated by wishful thinking. But no matter where you stand, the map invites us to imagine possibilities that stretch the boundaries of our historical narrative. Picture it, an ancient mariner, thousands of years ago, navigating strange seas under unfamiliar stars, charting coastlines long since buried under ice. Perhaps they belong to a seafaring culture lost to time, their knowledge scattered like whispers across the centuries, or perhaps the truth is stranger still, tied to forces and events we can barely comprehend. In the end, the Piri Rise map is more than just a piece of gazelle skin with inked lines. It's a challenge to our assumptions, a puzzle without a clear solution. It reminds us that history is not a fixed story, but a shifting tapestry woven from fragments, guesses, and mysteries. And in that shifting tapestry, there are threads we have yet to follow, leading perhaps to revelations about our past that could change everything we think we know. So the next time you hear the official version of human history, of when we discovered certain lands, of how advanced ancient people will remember the Piri Rise map, remember that somewhere in the vaults of time, there may be truths so extraordinary that even our most trusted textbooks can't contain them. And remember that sometimes the past has a way of staring back at us through the faint lines on an old, forgotten map, daring us to look closer, to ask harder questions, and to never stop wondering.